Hello everyone and welcome to this session of Imbibe Live Online, part of Global Bar Week. I'm Millie Milliken, Deputy Editor at Imbibe, and I am joined by Aaron Wall and Ciarán Smith, co-owners of Homeboy Bar in Islington, London, to chat modern Irish hospitality, putting warmth at the heart of what you do and giving your staff purpose. Hi guys, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. So for anyone watching who might not be familiar with what you guys do at Homeboy, I'm sure there won't be many, would you mind just giving us a quick snapshot of what kind of bar Homeboy is and what you guys do there?
Yeah, I guess our whole thing is about modern Irish hospitality and what that means to us. That idea of the warm welcome you should get from an Irish bar anywhere around the world, paired with the skill and knowledge that has since been nominated as one of the best cocktail bars in the world. We'd like to think we're a neighbourhood bar, but with a bit of a global reach, we've got a appeal for everyone. We'd like to think, and it's a very inclusive kind of atmosphere.
Perfect. And can you give us an idea of sort of the drinks offering that you guys have at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So our cocktail menu consists of 25 cocktails. The way the menu is done is kind of broken into three parts. The first third is Irish whiskey cocktails. Why Irish whiskey? We don't feel that Irish whiskey gets shone in the light it deserves. Some Irish whiskies have taste notes of pineapples, some very high spice, nutmeg. So it's a very versatile spirit when it comes to mixing cocktails. But I suppose for a few reasons, like Irish whiskey seen the demise, which was we got our independence from the Empire and America had the Prohibition. So that kind of seen the rise of the Scotch and the demise of Irish whiskey. And for that reason, people still think you should drink it on the rocks or drink it neat, where we're trying to make it very approachable to the customers. So, for example, we have a cocktail on there called the Wogan, which is a Teeling small batch Irish whiskey, which is finished in rum cask. So that has a taste and note of apricot. So what we do is we pair that with lime, sugar, and apricot brandy, and treat that as a saline solution to bring out the flavors. So just making that approachable, kind of like the daiquiri. Then the second third is contemporary style drinks, and then lovely, delicious classics.
Awesome, sounds great.
It's smiling there when we said Wogan. It is named after Terry Wogan.
I was hoping so.
Who love Terry Wogan? Just like Terry, it's dry and elegant as well.
And not to get off that, I suppose the thing is about it, what we're all about as well, is be approachable and have something for everybody. So not just the cocktails, we do have beer on draft. So we have the best Guinness in London. That's not me. Google, you can Google that. We're number one on Google, so that's amazing. We have Hop House of the Lager and Chieftain IPA, which is a super sessionable, delicious IPA from County Cork. And then we have a few bottles of beer on bottles, so something for everybody.
Awesome. And you sort of mentioned earlier what you think modern Irish hospitality is. Could you just go into a bit more detail about exactly what you mean and sort of the practicalities of that?
Well, I can talk for days about it, but something that always used to strike a chord with me is when people said the Irish are the most hospitable people in the world. I used to just think, are people just saying that because they think we're a bit twee? Are they saying that because we've got a history of servitude, or what is it? Is it for a dark purpose? But if you look back in Irish history, there was a set of laws that dictated how people lived their lives, whereas in Europe and the UK, there would have been more penal laws, and in Ireland there were more civil laws. So these laws dictated like how you lived your everyday life, and included in those laws were things like if someone looked for hospitality from you day or night, you had to offer them four things: a hot meal, a warm bed, drink, and entertainment. And to this day, I love telling the story about my older sister demanding that I stayed with her rather than staying with my parents. They lived down the road from each other. When I went home to visit, her demanding I stayed for lunch or dinner, plans, and halfway through the conversation, her just sliding an apple across the table, just so she could feel like she was looking after me. Yeah. And it's that pride of purpose that we're not. It's not a service thing. It's we really want to look after you. Really want to show you that we care for you, and we want to make sure you're having a good time.
Awesome. And how do you put that sort of feeling at the center of what you do when you know, as bar owners and bartenders as well with your team, you're constantly sort of fighting fires, solving problems, having to negotiate the level of involvement your guests want from you. You know, how do you put that in all of the time and give all of your guests that experience to take away with them?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing, if you're a hospitable person, that's going to come across in anything you do. But what Aaron speaks about a lot, and what we speak about a lot here, is kind of like that sense of urgency to have a level of excitement when a guest walks through the door, and just, you know, being genuine, actually genuinely interacting with your guests and asking them how their day is, explaining the menu in detail, asking them their preferences, but just showing that you're not just there to, you know, be robotic. You're actually showing your personality and you want to spend some time with them. I think that's how we do it. Now, obviously, it goes without saying, we do have practices in back of house that the team have to learn to help give a certain level of service that we expect in here, like at every bar. But it just comes down to our genuine hospitality and genuinely caring about the person in front of you.
Yeah, we always say genuine care produces genuine results. And, you know, I suppose we start off by having a strong ethos. And having a strong ethos means that we don't have to ram a script down anyone's throat or you know, whatever. If the guys understand the ethos and believe in it and you know, identify with it, then it means that they can go off and do that. It was always something that struck me at home back in Dublin, was that warmth and character you got from people, and then coming to London and the level of training that happened in bars in London was phenomenal, and the structure of it was all phenomenal. So for me, I always used to think, imagine we could pair that warmth that you get at home with that training that you get over here. And I think, you know, we've done that really well, I suppose.
Awesome. And
we like to think that doing that means it sort of looks seamless. You know, it looks like it's not. It shouldn't look scripted. It shouldn't look whatever. It because it is just genuine. You know.
Nice. And you know, I don't want to mention the C word too much during this, but how has COVID affected that? Because, you know, there is an element of closeness and back and forth between server and guest when it comes to making someone feel welcome. And obviously those things are very difficult right now, especially during the lockdown when you're not going to see your guests face to face. How has that impacted your ethos with your bar?
I mean, honestly, it hasn't impacted too much. Like, one thing we take pride on here is our 200 calls. So 200 calls, greet a guest when it comes in. Hotels have the 5-2 rule: 5 meters away, acknowledge; 2 meters away, greet. So that's really, really big for us, that warm hello when somebody walks in. So everybody's getting that when they walk in. One thing, obviously, that has affected, we like to hand somebody a menu rather than placing the menu on the table. So obviously everything is done through QR codes now. So that element has been restricted. But when the guys drop order to the table or greet a guest when they come in, they're still standing a meter and a half away. And to be honest, it's a small bar, so even projecting to that person there it's the warmth, and the warmth is still coming across. So it hasn't affected service in that much.
No, I think if anything, because we can't fill the bar up as much, because we miss those nights and those nights are so important where it ramps up into a little bit of madness, and that's where you make your money really. But you know, we've taken a positive stance on this the whole time, with things like, you know, people might get some of the protocols wrong from time to time, and you know, we're not here to be their school teachers. We're here to make sure they have a good time, and we need to take it as a compliment if they get it wrong. We need to remind them that, yeah, you need to wear your mask when you're walking to the toilet or whatever. We need to do it a nice way, because if they're having such a good time, that hopefully they forgot about all the other shit that's going on in the world, and they get a chance to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, because we're not, you know, because we've had to take away tables, because it's not 3 deep at the bar, maybe we're getting an extra moment to converse with our customers.
Nice.
We are missing that little bit of energy and excitement that we get late night, Friday, Saturdays, whatever. But yeah, we're trying to get that back in other ways.
Yeah.
Nice. And of course, running a business is very different to being a bartender. How do you motivate your staff, especially now in this sort of very unstable and difficult time for a lot of the frontline staff in the drinks industry. How do you motivate them when they come into work every day and there's a new set of challenges, and create that atmosphere for them that you create for your guests as well, making it warm and hospitable?
We do it together. Like we all roll up our sleeves and get stuck in. We're on service on station a couple of nights a week and make sure that we're doing it with the guys. But really, when we came back after lockdown, it was the team that made us more comfortable with everything. You know, we're going through risk assessments to beat the band and making sure that everything's all right, and then seeing their excitement for having guests come back in and all that really started to put us at ease. And then that meant we could just, you know, show transparency to the guys, you know, and let them know, hey, we're okay, we're going to survive this, we're going to get through, and we're going to look after you. That
was definitely something I was going to touch on there, is the transparency from day one when it comes to our back of house, especially our numbers and how the week's going. The guys have complete transparency. We do master classes on, you know, GP in a cocktail, GP in a menu, what our weekly take looks like, your gross versus your net, etc., etc. So I think during this time as well, that transparency of them figures and our back of house has really made the guys feel confident that everything's going to be okay, because we can know in a monetary value that, look, this is where we're at, we're making a tiny bit of profit, this is the profit, don't worry, you have job security, so much so that, you know, we're just after hiring a chef, we're just after hiring another member of staff to start this Thursday. So I think that also gives the guys confidence, you know, that everything's okay. And like Aaron said, like, we're grafters, we'll pull up our sleeves and work the bones off each other before we'll work the bones off the guys. And, you know, looking ahead, and obviously with the uncertainty, we're starting our bottle cocktail program. So we originally released 3 bottle cocktails that we'll be doing a push with consumer PR later in a few weeks. But we're also after adding a Homeboy Negroni and a Homeboy Old Fashioned, so the guys can see that if we do get a second lockdown, that we're gearing up to push this out and try and capitalize where we can.
And what I love about that is, you know, Ciarán's background's in 5-star hotels, and my background working for other bar owners. Sometimes it's, you know, you have an idea and it's, you know, it takes a while to get it going. I think we're showing the guys in our team that, hey, if we've got a good idea, let's just go for it, you know. And we're trying to be agile, we're trying to be flexible and pivot where we can, and be exciting about things, you know. I'm excited for the next couple of months. You know, the bottle cocktails are great. New labeling and all that stuff for it. We've got our little t-shirts collab that we're doing with the guys from Occam's Razor.
That's awesome.
We've got we launched Homeboy Irish Coffee Bitters, a bitters with a purpose to make everyone's Irish coffees that bit better. We've got loads on. You know, we're just excited to be still kicking, you know, and still
at that, and still trying to have fun, you know. I think that's the main thing. And for example, like, I came up with a stupid idea the other day, and we just rolled with it. It was like Aaron was saying, that no idea is a bad idea. So for example, at the end of every night at like 9 o'clock, we drop a takeaway menu to the table with what we can do.
What stupid idea? That wasn't a stupid idea. It was a great idea.
And I was like, why don't we get a trolley? He's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, did you ever see that scene in Harry Potter where your one's walking out and she's like, anything from the trolley, dear? He was like,
love that.
So we go around tables with a trolley, like, just still trying to have fun. And one of the guys said, turned around and was like, well, you can have a laugh and be like, this is the closest you'll get to an airplane this year. So, you know, still trying to have a bit of fun, and, you know, make like Aaron said, make the people forget about what's going on outside and make sure they're having a comfortable time and they can have a laugh, and they can take a homeboy homebrew home with them as well. So it's not too bad.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like you're still managing to have a bit of fun with everything, which is great for your staff as well. Keep morale high, and keep that atmosphere going in the bar. And in terms of, there are some people who are madly setting up bars at this time. Have you got any tips for them when it comes to, you know, you've got a great ethos for your company. They might be thinking about overheads, you know, hiring staff, training, things like that. What tips would you have for them? What have you learned becoming bar owners over the years?
There's loads. You know, number one, you can learn anything you need to learn. So go for it, and don't let anything discourage you.
There's no such thing as a bad idea.
Yeah,
absolutely no such thing as a bad idea. If you can, get a business partner, because two heads are better than one. If you have a I don't know, a doubt, that person might back you up and be like, no, it's not a doubt, and vice versa. And the workload, I know, like for example, Homeboy is a small bar, but when you don't have a bar manager, when you don't have a GM, the workload is a lot.
Yeah.
And if you have that confidence in a person that you can open a business with them and split the workload, and we found, like when we started, we had very clear of this will be what you'll look after, this will be you'll look after. And now as time goes on and develop, and you become more trustworthy in each other, and the great thing about us is we really do think alike when it comes to hospitality and looking forward. But then your roles just come into one. You do each other's thing. And I think Homeboy wouldn't be where it is today if it didn't have two rather than one.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me.
Yeah, I think having a business partner is massive. Clarity and transparency in your figures. We don't know anyone a penny at this stage. We're open a year and a half. We probably haven't known anyone a penny since Christmas.
2 years and 2 months.
2 years and 2 months, Jesus. Like we're very happy with that. We've come through we're going through a global pandemic, and we're not in any sort of debt. So where you can pay people, get your suppliers paid, get your staff paid first, get your suppliers paid. And you know,
if somebody offers you credit, great. Keep it there for a rainy day. Don't use it. Pay your bills the following week. If you put an order in today for Venus or Speciality or any of the what word am I looking for? Suppliers. Thank you.
What?
Any of the suppliers, pay them the following week. Get that out of the way, because if you let that build up, then you're going to be in a bigger hole, and then you're always going to be fighting it.
It's only added stress, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's about negating points of stress, you know, and just keeping on top of all that kind of stuff. So and I suppose having an ethos and understanding your brand and clearly defining it. Get out of my head. And clearly define it so that your customer understands it, your team understands it.
Yeah.
Marketing, PR, whatever, media understands it. You know, if everyone can understand very clearly what your message is, then it makes it a more attractive proposition.
Right.
So yeah.
And you guys, you know, you've got lots of exciting things coming up, like you've just mentioned. But I wanted to have a chat with you quickly about the new chef that you've hired. That's a fantastic thing to have done very soon after lockdown lifted as well. Talk me through sort of the business side of that, and it's a whole new side of your business. It's really exciting.
The logic first with that was, you know, we remember the recession in Ireland from 2008 to 2014 and how hard it was hit, and something that we talked about during lockdown was how sort of different areas in Ireland seem to do it a little bit differently. In Dublin just kind of assumed it was going to be busy because, well, it's Dublin and we're always busy, you know. Galway put a big effort on the hospitality and the person behind the bar and the crack, and Cork put a big effort on giving people a reason to leave the house. And we were like, well, you know what, we already put a big effort on the person, the hospitality and all that.
Yeah.
We need to think of more ways to give people a reason to leave the house. We've always wanted to have a kitchen to do some of the fun and exciting stuff, but also we do live music every Sunday. It's been part of our business model since we've opened every Sunday, and we said, you know what, maybe we do it on a Thursday as well. And luckily we got a bit of support from Hennessy to do that for the first couple of weeks. So that meant we could have live music on a Thursday and a Sunday, giving people another reason to leave the house. And when the opportunity came, Michael, our chef here, when the opportunity came to hire him, Michael was a customer who would be in here with his mates drinking pints. And after we reopened lockdown, he just kind of came over and, I'm looking for a new challenge if you're looking for a chef. And we were like,
awesome.
So it's like, it's going back to our mentality. We took the opinion during lockdown when we were talking about the business coming forward. We were like, well, we need to work that extra bit harder to make the money we were making pre-lockdown versus post-lockdown. And I mean, even that, I think it's called, we've called it the year of pivot, and I think everybody's calling it the year of pivot. For example, when the harder restrictions came in 2 weeks ago, we decided to open at 12. You know, if you're going to lose a few hours of the day, then open earlier and try and gain them few hours back. If it doesn't work, at least you've tried it for 10 days. You notice the business is not there. Okay, well then I'll go back to the opening 3. It's just about working that little bit harder, and then you can complain that you've exhausted all possible realms instead of just complaining straight away that you've lost X, Y, and Z when you're still opening at 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever the case may be. Or you could have opened at the 4th of July when bars reopened, but you didn't. You decided to open 2 months later. Yeah. It's just about, I think it's about it's a mindset and a mentality, and about, you know, you want to work hard for your team, and you want to make sure your team is in a comfortable position and they're looked after, and that's the main thing that drives us. But I think if you have that mentality of work harder, work smarter, work better, then
look, there was no doubt in us reopening the 4th of July because of a couple of reasons. We're grafters, dying to get back to work, dying to actually roll our sleeves up, see what this new world was going to be. We wanted to make sure our team could be sustainably looked after, and not just, you know, like the furlough. I know the furlough system was still there, but we wanted to get them back in, get them back up to full salary, and you know, we weren't going to say no to that. If people were going to get excited about going back into pubs, we wanted them to be excited about coming back into our bar. You know, on their first day of bars being back open, and that was an incredible day.
And talking about that as well, that 2 weeks of revenue generated. Yeah. If you missed out on that 2 weeks of revenue, you missed out on a lot, because I remember the first day we opened, we had 140 on that 4th of July on the Friday. We had 104, or Saturday, we had 140 guests booked in. We were turning tables 3 and 4 and 5 times. And we had to close bookings on the Friday at 7 p.m. I remember closing the bookings, being like, we can't let anybody in.
Wow.
We didn't even have we hadn't set up the kitchen yet, because Michael hadn't been in for his drink at that stage. So we hadn't set up the kitchen yet. So we literally sat Roland Collins from Pernod Ricard in the kitchen with his flatmates, and then later on we sat Mark Tracy and Mikey Foster in there to have a drink. You know, we're like, it all came with a joke. I don't have a table for you, man. You can sit in the kitchen if you want. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm joking. No, sounds great. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, it doesn't sound like you guys have been slowing down at all. What's the rest of the day got in store for you today? What's today looking like?
we've got a takeover on tomorrow, Tuesday. Chris Power, from Belfast, is coming over. Myself and Ciarán used to live with Chris. Chris used to work in the punch rooms and Millie's and the Neds and the luggage rooms. So he's got a great pedigree and some of the best drinks you're gonna have. So he's doing a little takeover tomorrow. So he's on his way in. We're excited to see him.
I haven't seen him in 2 years, 2.5 years. Yeah, so should be fun. But yeah, just like Mondays are our admin day, wages, stock, all of the fun stuff. I find it fun anyway. So yeah, just getting that all out of the way, set ourselves up for the week, and just waiting for 3:30 for the pending doom, and see what's going to happen.
Exactly.
How we're going to pivot next.
How we're going to pivot next. I said to the guys, like, anybody open up a bike? And they were like, why? I was like, deliveries.
Well, hopefully before then I'll be able to pop in for a lovely Guinness, the best Guinness in London. But thank you so much, guys, for chatting to us as part of Global Bar Week. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, all the sessions from the event will be available to watch on demand later. So there's plenty more to come during the week. So for everyone watching, make sure you check out the rest of the program. And again, thank you so much, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.